Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're doing the highly requested Zen deck building guide. We're going to do this similar to the way we did with New, where we don't give a definitive list. I think it's short-sighted to do that before the release of the set. But we are going to talk about some principles, what makes Zen powerful in comparison to other ninjas, how should you look to build him, what are some different archetypes, what key questions should you be asking yourself, and then finally we'll talk about some synergies with the deck and hopefully get you a decent starting point as you're trying to build the hero. So we'll get right into it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below if you want. We have almost 600 members now, which is just nuts. Super fun place to talk about the game. No judgment, whether you're a new player, competitive player, doesn't matter. Really fun, inviting spot to play, and I'm really proud of it. And then for the channel members, thank y'all so much. Y'all are really helping this channel grow a little bit, and for us to be able to do some different stuff. I'm hopefully going to upgrade some of my equipment here and get a really nice camera, just to give y'all some better I want to do some top down box opening stuff, but I want the camera that really shines to do it. So hopefully that works out. But we're gonna get right into it. So Zen, I'm gonna be honest in this deck building guide, right? And this isn't gonna be all doom and gloom negative, but I'm gonna have some negative points, and I want to caveat with that and say I want to say that I hope I'm wrong. I hope someone comes to me after nationals, after top 80 nats or top 80 calling, or hell, just even doing really good and getting heavy day 2, and be able to say I told you Zen's better than you think he is, Dylan. I hope one of y'all comes up to me and says that. I don't want Zen to be bad. I'm having some difficulty answering some key questions. We're going to talk about that. The first key question I'm having trouble answering, there's 2 questions that I'm having trouble answering right now. Maybe in the comments you can let me know down below what you think the answer to these questions are. What makes Zen powerful in comparison to Katsu or Fi from a competitive perspective? What makes him more powerful? Why would you play Zen? Now, if your answer is, I just love Crouching Tigers, I love the Mystic cards, I love the theme, I love all that, never going to disagree with you, never going to argue with you. You're talking to someone who loves Arachne. Even though Uziri was more positioned in the meta more times than not, I love the contract mechanic, I love the faceless killer theme, I love all that switching stuff out. So trust me when I say, I totally get that. But from a sheer competitive, objective perspective, what does Zen do powerful-wise that Katsu and Fi cannot do in their own way? Yes, Zen can have some combo turns with the new headpiece. He can have some really good consistency with the Tigers, but is that more powerful than Katsu? Does he attack the meta better than Katsu? And that's been my second. I haven't been able to answer that question soundly. And my second question I've been able to answer, and this is something you got to think about now that we actually have 3 playable heroes in the ninja class, is what is Zen attack in the meta? What are you trying to beat that Katsu and Fi can't beat? Right? There's not much. Yeah, I think he's a little bit better in the Guardian because of the breakpoints. He can go super, super wide. But really, he doesn't attack anything. In my opinion, this is all face value at the start right now, right? Maybe it'll unlock as we go along. There's nothing he attacks in the meta that Katsu doesn't attack better. There's just not, I can't think of anything, right? So that's been my biggest problem with Zen, is I can't answer those questions. Now, I'm still going to build Zen, I'm still going to play Zen, but that's been my biggest thing. But that's the negatives of it. I want to know in the comments down below how you answer those questions. What makes him more powerful in comparison to other ninjas like Katsu and Fi? And what are you attacking in the meta that the other heroes can't attack, right? That's been my 2 questions. However, as we look to build Zen, I do think that there is a very consistent Tiger build, a mid-range combo build. Not like the Pred Streak Roar the Tiger build, but there's a mid-range combo build that can get really above rate and do some pretty good rate damage. It may have a lower ceiling than Katsu because Zen's ceiling is his biggest ceiling, other than a really lucky shifting winds turn, his ceiling's pretty much lower than Katsu. The only way it gets above Katsu is if your opponent forgets how to block, to be frank with you. But that being said, I think there's a way where he can use Harmony of the Hunt and Tiger Generators a little bit more consistently than Katsu and get that, really consistent Crouching Tiger build. So how do you look to build Zen? Right? What are you trying to do? I think there's 3 ways you can do it. You have the control combo build with the Traverse the Universe hat, where you're using a lot of defense reactions, flick flacks, heck, in the new, maybe even a little bit of wax on. Definitely look at that card. It's pretty good in the new. And you're able to basically like, you know, whittle down your opponent with little mini attacks and then wait for having a chi card in hand or a transcend card and block. And after you've already transcended with one card, and then you block with Traverse the Universe, you get like a double chi hand, and you can start to do some really nutty stuff by like pitching one chi into shifting winds, using one chi to go get a combo card, just doing some really high rate damage on that combo turn. The thing with that archetype is like, how do you close out games? And we'll talk about that here in a second. The second kind of way to build Zen is just really good mid-range build. We're using cards like Chase the Tail, cards like Aspect Tiger Body, Breed Anger, and you're just using these tigers not necessarily for points of damage, but for ways to enable other overrate cards and be able to really put out some consistent damage. I think that's going to be the most consistent way to play Zen from a competitive perspective. It's just about getting the right list that synergizes the most, right? The final way to play Zen is the Unga Bunga Roar the Tiger. I'm going to try to see if you can't block properly build. Like we've seen, right, the memes of people doing like 200-300 damage turns. Yes, if you're playing against a bot that doesn't block you, it's pretty easy to do. And that's no hate. That's just like that this archetype looks really good on paper, but your opponent kind of has to make a mistake. I think this is the least competitive way to build Zen. However, it might be the most fun way to build Zen, right? I mean, playing Art of War, Roar the Tiger, Predatory Streak, and then just pop it off is really nutty. The other thing about this archetype is I think Katsu just does it better, because Katsu can Katsu trigger to go get, like he can use a Crouching Tiger he made in hand to go get a Tiger Swipe and then pop Pouncing Links to go get another Tiger Swipe. Like he can just do stupid stuff, whereas Zen has to work for it a little bit more. So those are the three main ways. I think the consistent mid-range way is better. So, you know, to each their own on that one, but there's three primary ways I see people building Zen. So the next thing is, what key questions do you ask yourself when you're building this deck? The first one is the one we went over a little bit, and I'm not going to, you know, berate the point, but when you build the deck, other than just the Crouching Tiger archetype, again, if your favorite thing is just I love Crouching Tigers, then play Zen. It's fine. That makes sense. I can't hit you on theme, but competitively, when you build a deck with Zen, if you're going to be super objective, you got to say, what does this deck do that Katsu doesn't do? And not just the Crouching Tigers, but like power-wise, what does the deck do that Katsu doesn't? And if you can't answer that question, in my opinion, you shouldn't play Zen. Now, I'm on the line of thinking I think Katsu's just better. I think I've seen a couple tier lists where they're having Zen above Katsu, and I just am flabbergasted. But yeah, I think Katsu's better right now. So if you build Zen, you got to build it in a way where it's like, okay, this is attacking a certain thing in the meta, or this is doing a certain thing that I think gets him above Katsu, or he can do something that Katsu just inherently can't attack, right? That's the first question you got to ask yourself, like, to be honest. Or even Phi, right? This is kind of how it goes. On a more micro level, like, how do you structure your blues? Some people are structuring blues where they're using, like, the Go Again cards with Transcend. So using cards like Biting Breeze, Blue Harmony of the Hunt, like these, like, just, they're kind of below rate blues, but they do turn on your Transcend. You have to find the right mix of those, because yes, they turn on your Transcend, but if you get too below rate and you're not drawing like super well, because Zen doesn't always have that hand fix unless he has a Transcend card, you could just be playing really below rate damage. I've played against several Zens where they don't have a Transcend card in hand. They'll play like Blue Harmony of the Hunt, make a Tiger, then they swing the Staff, then they swing the Tiger, then they attack me with like Breed Anger and then something else. And so you basically just did 1, 2, 2. So you did 5. Breed Anger makes it 9. And let's say it's a 0 for 3 for 12. You just did a 4-card 12, which is on rate. And the problem with Ninja is you don't want to be on rate. You want to be above rate with all your attacks. Your 2-card hands need to swing for 7, which is very not that hard to do when you attack with Chikara and then swing with a 1 for 5. Your 3-card hands need to be dealing at least 10 minimum, and your 4-card hands need to be doing, at that point, in my opinion, 14 to 15 in order to start really winning games, because you need to get above rate. So that's kind of the biggest thing, is make sure your blues allow you to stay on rate. The other thing is, like, how do you close out games? I think in the combo control version, you could run a card like Cosmic Awakening. It's not even bad. Like, in-game, this is 20 damage. And it's really, really nice. You can run 2 or 3 of these. I'd probably run 2. That way you can block with 1 if you need to. And be able to, like, have a late-game pitch stack where you can swing for 20, right? I think, and also if you have an arsenal and you draw into a chi, like that you've already used, and then you have a Transcend card, and then you can block with the helmet. Like, you could really like do a crazy cool combo turn. Other ways that you could end games, maybe it's like a Pred Streak, Roar the Tiger turn if you're doing the Unga Bunga way. And if you're in the consistent mid-range, maybe it's getting those breakpoint attacks like Chase the Tail and Breed Anger together consecutively to really end the game. But you have to be a little bit more like deliberate with how you do things. The next thing is just what blues should you run in general too, right? Like, do you structure your blues to be all go again cards that are attacks? Do you structure someone to be like Winchakara? Do you just run like 7 Transcend cards and try to play them on top of each other and see each other, and then you get double chi in your deck? There's a couple of different ways to do it. I do think cards like Levels of Enlightenment are really good. Blue Harmony of the Hunt, even though it is below rate, is very good. Winchakara is a very good blue. So try to mix up your blues. Like, help them go towards whatever your game plan is. Whatever the case may be, but you need to have playable blues because this deck's going to function on blues because you need to transcend, right? So that's kind of a big thing. Then we're going to talk about synergies in the deck. So the first synergy is Tigers in Hand versus Tigers in Banished, right? You have certain cards like Predatory Shriek, Pouncing Paws, that create Tigers in Banished. The problem, not problem, but the thing about this is there's certain cards that care about Tigers in Hand. Tooth and Claw is a big one. You can play a Predatory Shriek. It won't see any of those tigers. So if you're playing Predatory Shriek, maybe you don't play Tooth and Claw. You might. Maybe you only play like a 1 of or something, or 2 of. But you have to be wary of that. Like, if you have cards that care about cards that tigers in hand, then Pred Shriek could potentially be like not as efficient. Even cards like Art of War really want you to have a card in hand. You have cards like Stride Reprisal, which can be used in multiple ways. It can be used to fuel a combo turn where you're trying to like put together multiple cards that care about tigers because you want that extra tiger in your hand. Or it can be used to fuel an Art of War turn, right? If you're running maybe a Tunic Art of War build, maybe when you get your Art of War you set in Arsenal, you block a Stride Reprisal the next turn in order to basically get a free banish off of Art of War. And you are really off to the races with a really efficient hand, right? At that point, you block a Stride Reprisal, you have a pseudo 6-card hand, you play Art of War off Tunic, going down to 5, and then you banish the Tiger going down to 4, then you draw back up to 6. So you really didn't lose a card by playing Art of War, which is super nice. So there's ways of doing that, but you have to know that. You have to look at your deck and be like, okay, I have several cards that care about tigers in hand, but I don't have the tiger in hand cards or whatever, or you know what I mean? So you have to be careful of that. The next one is cards like Mauling Key. So 2 tigers versus 1 tiger cards, right? There's certain cards that only care about seeing a tiger, and there's certain cards where you want to have 2 tigers in order to make the most of it. Chase the Tail is a really powerful 1 for 7 when used properly. The problem is, not problem, but the thing you have to think about is you have to make 2 tigers on that turn. Otherwise, Chase the Tail's ability, it's just a 1 for 4 go again. That's a block 3, which is technically above rate due to the block, but that's about it. So you have to make sure that you can have ways to make multiple tigers in a turn with Harmony of the Hunt, Stride of Reprisal, cards like Aspect of Tiger Mind, or Body. Yeah, Aspect of Tiger Body, sorry. Stuff like that. Then you have cards that just care about 1 tiger. Mauling Key, Breed Anger. These Aspect of Tiger Mind will give you a tiger, but there's certain cards where you don't need to have 2 tigers, right? So if you're running a lot of Chase the Tail or you're really relying on Chase the Tail, then you need to find ways to make multiple tigers in a turn, right? So it's very efficient. The other synergy is 1 cost. Because your weapon is a 2-cost weapon, the 1 cost really fit well into this, right? Being able to maybe make a tiger with like Tiger Eye Reflex or Stride Reprisal, and then, you swing with your blue with Tiger Tamer Jakara for 2, play your Crouching Tiger that's now buffed from your staff for 1, and then you end on a Mauling Key, right? So you just played a 2-card, after making your Tiger, a 2-card 8, potentially 2-card 9. Again, you're getting way above Ray at that point. Really, really nice. And that's what you want to do, is get that incremental value until you can close out games. So that's kind of my biggest one. And then finally, it's your Tiger Makers. Like, how many Tiger Makers do you have in the deck? If you're running just Harmony of the Hunt, and Stride Reprisal, that might not be enough, right? Maybe it is with the Transcend cards. You have to make that decision. But are you going to run like more stuff like Pred Streak or Roar the Tiger? Or are you just going to like Harmony of the Hunt, try to rely on making tigers with like Aspect of Tiger Body, stuff like that? But you got to make sure you have enough, because the tigers don't necessarily have to deal damage, but they have to enable other cards to deal damage. So you have to make sure you have enough of those. I would say like I have my list over here just to glance and like help remind me of stuff. In my list right now, I have 9 unconditional Tiger Makers. And when I say unconditional, it means like pitching a blue, like Tiger Eye Reflex or Harmony of the Hunt. Like I count them as pretty much unconditional because they'll naturally do it if I just play them correctly. Then I have a couple of conditional Tiger Makers like Aspect of Tiger Body, Breed Anger, stuff like that. So there is some conditional ones. So I have like 9 conditional Tiger Makers, and then I have like 6 to 9 unconditional Tiger Makers, which might even be a little bit low. So you have to really play that the way you want to. Remember that your Transcend cards also make a Tiger, so that can help as well. But you have to also play those out and make sure you're above rate because now you're running no block blues in your deck, stuff like that. So hopefully it's helped a little bit. Again, Zen for me is very difficult. I'm still trying to answer the question of why do you play this hero over Katsu from a sheer objective competitive perspective. I have not been able to answer that question. I think Katsu's just better. That's just my opinion. I hope someone proves me wrong in the chat. Please, I beg. I want to see like 3 playable. I want to see all 3 ninjas just like doing amazing. That'd be awesome. Let me know what your thoughts are. I love to hear it. It'd be really interesting to get other people's perspectives on the hero. I know a lot of people are high on the hero, and I'd love to get your thoughts and build as a community and find the right list and kind of go from there. Thank you all so much. Hopefully you enjoy this type of content. If you did, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people seeing this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk.